Hey folks, here at Devil's Den, there are 1,800 acres of protected land. It's a natural oasis in an otherwise congested Fairfield County. The name Devil's Den comes from a mysterious mark found in a boulder here. It resembles a cloven hoof print, and turn-of-the-century charcoal makers said that the devil himself walked on that rock. He left his footprint burnt into its surface. These woods hold many stories. Archaeological records show human occupation dating back 5,000 years. And during the Revolutionary War, when British troops marched nearby on their way to burn down Danbury, patriot women and children fled to these rocks and hid. Today, Devil's Den can feel somewhat wild and untamed, but it wasn't always this way. These woods are full of stone walls and foundations and the ruins of an old mill. At one time, Devil's Den was an active place, and one of the biggest activities here was charcoal making. In the 1800s, charcoal was essential to Connecticut's iron-producing past. At one time, there were around 30 charcoal-making sites here. Charcoal makers, or colliers, cut wood and built large stacks of log, up to 50 cords. They covered them in leaves and dirt and slowly burnt them down to make charcoal. Because the process needed constant supervision, the colliers would camp beside these smoldering heaps. Any sudden flame, and the entire pit would be lost. Now there's an old story about the coal makers of Devil's Den, and it goes like this. A group of colliers were here tending their pit. It was a long process. A pit could take a full week to burn down completely. So to break the monotony, they decided to head to the nearby tavern for a few drinks, and they left one man behind to keep an eye on the pit. But when they returned, that man was nowhere to be found. They called out to him, and they searched the nearby woods. Suddenly, he came running out of the underbrush. He was terror-stricken. He was babbling incoherently. When the others finally calmed the man down enough to speak, he told them this story. While tending the charcoal pit alone that night, he saw the devil himself rise up from the flames. Laughing cruelly, Satan began to chase the man through the woods. After he was done telling his tale, the man jumped up and ran off, never to return. The next morning, that group of colliers found an empty jug at the campsite. They realized their long-gone workmate had also been drinking. It was the demon rum, not the devil, that had gotten into their friend. So, that's the story of the coal makers of Devil's Den. And it may not be as strange as it sounds, because the colliers lived a life in fire. In order to tend their pits, the coal makers would often have to climb on the mound. Sometimes they would have to jump the pit, leaping across an open mouth of embers. Occasionally, one would fall through. With so much wood needed for charcoal production, the forests would be completely cut down. This left the collier in a kind of wasteland surrounded by smoking heaps. The coal maker's occupation itself created its own hellish landscape, ripe for the imagination. But today in Devil's Den, the trees have all grown back. It's a peaceful spot, the air is fresh. Devil's Den is a popular nature preserve. It's filled with the remnants of local history and a mysterious cloven hoof print left in a rock by the devil. Of course.
To you.